According to reports, Prince Harry's hotly anticipated memoir should definitely have the royal family worried. It's juicy, that's for sure, dishes the insider. There's a lot of new stories about the past that Harry has not spoken about before, about his childhood. There is some content in there that should make his family nervous. In the days after the Queen's passing, there were high hopes Harry would finally reconcile with his father Charles and brother Prince William. However, royal expert Phil Dampier believes this is impossible. Harry's book is a ticking time bomb under the royal family, the author says. Harry's been paid a lot of money for the book, and even if some is going to charity, his publisher will want their pound of flesh. While the publication date has been pushed back, with some guessing Harry is having second thoughts, Phil believes the delay is so the disgruntled Duke can update it with his version of what went on behind the scenes the week of his grandmother's death. Harry will definitely want to add an extra chapter, Phil says. On top of reports Harry found out about the Queen's death online, Phil says the prince resented not being able to wear his uniform, as well as the seating arrangements at the funeral. The Windsors are expected to be put under the magnifying glass on the pages as Harry reveals his side of the story. Harry will want to settle old scores, things he bottled up for years but Meghan has encouraged him to unburden himself of, explains Phil. He's bound to talk about his childhood and the way his mother was treated by the royals. Certainly there will be no way back for Harry if he does, Phil sadly reveals. Furthermore, according to Katie Nicholl, Vanity Fair's royal correspondent, Prince Harry will still go ahead with publishing his memoir and the palace is understandably concerned. She said, "We know from the things that Harry and Meghan have said in the Oprah interview and in other interviews that they're not afraid to criticise the institution. I mean, my experience of books is that he's been paid something like £35 million advance, half of which has already been paid. I know the palace is understandably very concerned about what's going to be in the book." Early reports suggested that Harry would tone down his book in respect of his grandmother. However, Nicholl said she believes that this won't be the case at all. "We know from the things that Harry and Meghan have said in Oprah and in other interviews that they're not afraid to criticise the institution. They're not afraid to have a pop at members of the royal family." Another royal commentator, Charles Ray, urged the prince not to publish the tell-all. He said, "Harry's supposed to be doing some changes so they can tone it down a bit. Well, I've got one change for Harry. He should scrap it. Just don't publish it, Harry. Just give the money back." Ray claims that the former Duke of Sussex will obviously be being paid a seven-figure sum for his writing. It won't just be a stroll down the road and say hello to various people. They'll want some sensational bits in it, he said. The reporting earlier on when Camilla was just the Duchess of Cornwall was that he was going to be critical of her. Now that she's queen, it will not go down well, and it will be really something that will make sure that they're even more apart from the royal family. He said that he believes that Harry doesn't care anymore. We saw pictures of him out in Windsor which he shared with William and Catherine, and they were great pictures and they look good and everything else, but it's a ceasefire. Nothing else, nothing more, just a ceasefire.